for parole. Blake Downs shot and killed Berm at Downs' home on Holloman Road in Port Lavaca on April 9th of 2022. So here is your viewer poll this afternoon. The question is, do you think Blake Downs' sentencing was an appropriate punishment? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And of course, we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. Crews worked to battle a blaze burning in Austin, Texas Wednesday. A Travis County Emergency Services District spokesperson says the initial call came in for a trash fire. That fire grew into a larger size as heavy smoke clouds and flames could be seen coming from the area. Fortunately, no injuries have been reported. Now, more details surrounding the case are currently developing. And with that, let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez.
Well, thank you very much. Let's start on the East Coast. First of all, we still have Debbie making a mess of things. I mean, the storm is falling apart, but it is still causing very heavy rain on the East Coast. And then we look out way across the ocean in the mid-Atlantic, and we have the potential of another storm. This one will not strengthen for about 3 days, and then it has a good shot at getting organized and coming back to the east coast of the United States, which just had a storm. We'll be talking more about that coming up in just a few minutes. Karina, back to you.
Mac, thank you. A wildfire burning in El Dorado County, California forced thousands to evacuate. The fire started early Wednesday morning near Slate Mountain. Officials say as of Wednesday afternoon, at least 392 acres burned so far, and the blaze is only 5% contained. Evacuation orders are in place for several areas. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. Tropical Storm Debbie is still a major threat after making a second landfall overnight, with more tornadoes and flash flooding possibly today.
Widespread damage and dangerous conditions as Debbie slowed across the Carolinas. The storm making a second landfall overnight near Bulls Bay, South Carolina. The danger well beyond rain and flooding, with confirmed tornadoes in Wilson County, North Carolina.
Looked back out the back door and I seen a twister going across the backyard and stuff was flying, and I went down there praying.
This home in Lucoma, an hour east of Raleigh, leveled. Rescue crews and neighbors frantically searching for the man who lives inside.
And I hope he's in the basement. Hope he's fine, but just can't hear us hollering for him.
Later learning he was confirmed dead. There are reports of at least 10 homes damaged. And this nearby middle school also destroyed, with mangled debris everywhere. A classroom ceiling collapsed. So far, there have been at least 15 reported tornadoes from Debbie since Sunday across Florida, North Carolina, and South Carolina. And flash flooding is still a major threat. Rainfall totals in parts of South Carolina approaching 20 inches, with up to another 6 inches of rain possible today. In Mount Pleasant, an alligator from a nearby retention pond was seen in the water. In Rock Hill, this school bus stuck by a large tree, smashing onto a car.
I was in bed and I heard something go boom, and I didn't think nothing of it. I just kept on laying there, and my son came in to say, Dad, the tree done fell out in front yard.
A tornado watch was issued for North Carolina and Virginia as Debbie moves inland, and a flood watch from Georgia all the way to New York and the Canadian border until tomorrow. In Lucoma, North Carolina, Jamise Price, ABC News.
A competitor in a CrossFit Games event in Texas died. Authorities in Fort Worth reported a drowning Thursday morning during a swim event on the first day of the multi-day competition. The rest of the CrossFit Games events now canceled for the rest of the day. Officials have not decided whether they will cancel the remainder of the games beyond Thursday. The competition is scheduled to run through this weekend. After the incident, a number of live streams for the event were abruptly cut on a number of major platforms. A third person died from a listeria outbreak tied to deli meats. Since May, 43 people in multiple states have been hospitalized with the listeria infection. The food poisoning outbreak led to the recall of more than 7 million pounds of boar's head deli meats. Listeria poisoning is caused by a particular resilient type of bacteria that can survive and even grow during refrigeration. Many of the products recalled by Boar's Head are meats meant to be sliced at a grocery store deli counter, though some are prepackaged meats and included in this recall. Taylor Swift was scheduled to perform concerts through Thursday and through Saturday at Ernst Happel Stadium in Austria. Since then, the concerts have been canceled. The cancellations follow the arrest of 3 teenagers being questioned by authorities about a reported suicide attack plot. Austria's Director General for Public Security says a 19-year-old suspect wanted to blow up a device near the stadium during one of her concerts. Authorities say no one else is being sought with any direct connection to this reported plot. A magnitude 7.1 earthquake shook southwestern Japan today. The quake triggered a tsunami alert across southwestern Japan. The quake is prompting officials to issue their first ever warning of a possible, quote, mega quake. That kind of quake comes from an underwater fault line off the coast of Japan, which could be especially powerful. Data shows a mega thrust quake could trigger a huge tsunami in the Pacific Coast region. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Straight ahead on 25 News, now at 5, why Hunter Biden is accused of foreign lobbying. Also ahead, today marks 1 year since the fire disaster on Maui, how the community says it's committed to rising from the ashes. Federal prosecutors are accusing Hunter Biden of agreeing to foreign lobbying. New court filings on Wednesday report Hunter Biden agreed to lobby United States officials on behalf of a Romanian businessman. The latest accusations stem from special counsel David West. He's prosecuting Hunter Biden for his reported tax evasion. West claims Biden did not reach out to government officials, even though prosecutors did not go into detail about those communications. Hunter's team denies these claims. Now today marks 1 year since the historic fire disaster on Maui. The Hawaiian island left devastated, more than 100 lives lost, thousands of people displaced. But 1 year later, they have found hope.
1 year ago today, the town of Lahaina on Maui was nearly burned off the map.
I immediately knew that morning something was off, just the way the wind blew.
Left behind were barren landscapes of charred debris. At least 102 people were killed. 12,000 were forced from their homes. Today, the community says it is committed to rising from the ashes.
First year was about survival. The second year will be about rebuilding.
Hawaii's governor yesterday toured a newly completed temporary housing project.
A lot of housing is going to be going up in the next, say, month to 3 years.
83-year-old Tom Liu lost everything in the fire. His neighbors rallied around him, providing housing and support. And now he is rebuilding what was his dream home.
I tell people that I actually lived in the aloha spirit. You know, everybody hears about aloha spirit. You know, it's just saying, oh yeah, aloha spirit. But I experienced it.
Officials say only a small fraction of the 4,000 displaced households are still staying in hotels. 2 major investigations into the fire and the government's response are still not complete. But days ago, a settlement was reached for the victims. The defendants, including the state, the county, and Hawaiian Electric, agreed to pay $4 billion to settle claims related to the fire. As the community heals, so does nature.
We will be cutting out some more of the tree, but it's doing okay.
This 151-year-old banyan tree, scorched in the fire, is coming back to life.
And the tree's looking really well. Big, beautiful leaves on it. Matter of fact, it has fruit. It's fruiting, which is great. It has giant seeds all over it.
Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
At least 6 people injured following a shooting in the Bronx, New York, Wednesday. Officials say several people gathered on East 190th Street and Morris Avenue underneath a scaffolding shortly after 8 p.m. when 2 males on scooters parked their vehicles, went up the stairs, and then fired several shots at the group of men under the scaffolding. 6 men were struck by gunfire, 5 of which were in their 20s. 1 man reported in his early 30s. All injuries are said to be non-life-threatening, though the motive for the shooting is currently under investigation. Now, more than 3 million people in the U.S. are living with a certain smoking-related illness, and many may not know they even have it. Researchers say about 1 in 4 people living with it have never even smoked.
It's a progressive disease in which tissue in the lungs becomes damaged. While smoking is the most common cause of emphysema, it's not the only source.
Emphysema is more or less just a consequence of breathing in just noxious stimuli and toxins over years and years and years.
The American Lung Association says emphysema is not only caused by smoking, but also being around secondhand smoke for prolonged periods. Genetics can also be a cause, as well as indoor and outdoor air pollution. And many may not even know they have it, says Dr. Panagis Galasatos.
For some patients, I tell them it's like having a scar on your skin. Your skin still works, just like emphysema. Your lungs overall will still work.
While there's no cure for emphysema, once there's a diagnosis, the cause can be identified and lifestyle changes can be made to help spare the rest of the lung. Red flags include coughing up mucus, wheezing, chest tightness, and breathlessness during everyday tasks.
I get breathless when I'm carrying groceries. I was fine in the store, but as soon as I carry groceries, I'm starting to get breathless. That's what we're looking for. And it's very insidious, it's very nonspecific, but clue your doctor in.
Galasato says there are treatment options, including inhalers and pulmonary rehabilitation, but a diagnosis is needed first.
If you start noticing something different with your body, tell that to the doctor.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
90% of Texans told pollsters with the University of Houston and Texas Southern University that housing affordability is a problem where they live. More than half of Texans polled say they face financial strain resulting from housing costs. You can read this Texas Tribune article on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And now here's Mac.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it's a warm day, and right now we're still at 95 degrees. The temperatures are going to be hovering 98 to 99 to 100 over the next 5 to 7 days, including the weekend. I'm going to call it 97 for today's high temperature, which is just a little bit above our average for this time of year. But there's not a lot of change in our forecast for 7 days as we are controlled by that large heat dome. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic, a little bit more business. We'll talk about that after this. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, the sunshine is here. It will be here for quite some time. Not a cloud in the sky out there. And of course, well, okay, there were a few little clouds, but nothing significant around the area. Texas is going to be under the dome, and so is much of the country, as a matter of fact, as it is going to be in control of pretty much the central part of the country. On the East Coast, of course, Debbie continues to be a problem, but I just wanted to show you this, that for tomorrow, we do have heat advisories up for pretty much everybody. Now, they're not including Goliad County. That's not because it's going to be cool in Goliad County. They just didn't include it. But you should consider Goliad down there, that it's going to be hot, and you need to be cautious with the afternoon heat, especially in the middle part of the day, as we've talked about so many times. But on the East Coast, we've got a couple things. First of all, Debbie continues to fall apart as it causes more problems. But there's the next couple of days to concern yourself with. This is right now a tropical wave, has a tough time for about 2 days, and then we'll get in a more favorable environment, and then our computers, the computer models, bring it all the way up to Florida and the eastern seaboard. There's a possibility that it might skirt out to sea like that, but right now, basically, it's an East Coast kind of thing, so we don't have to worry about it, but they do because they've already had enough rain with Debbie. You can see how there's some clearing down here to the side in the Carolinas where the sun has come out, but the heavy rain is now moving over Washington, D.C., also heavy rain throughout Tennessee, and then, of course, this whole thing sort of drifts up into upstate New York. So much of the East Coast is going to be affected by Debbie at one way or the other. Now we take a look at the dust. The dust that's coming off the Saharan desert is right over where that storm is trying to get organized. That's why it's going to have a couple of days of tough weather until it gets closer to here and gets away from that dust. Then it'll probably start to strengthen and possibly become Ernesto. And then we are going to get that dust in about 2-3 days. So if you know, it's not tomorrow, it's just a couple of days from now, we'll see some of that drifting overhead. So again, you see all the mess on the East Coast, and you saw the story. I mean, all kinds of flooding problems, and they had tornadoes last night as well. But that is the end of, I can say the end of Debbie because it's no longer a tropical storm. It is down to a depression stage and continues sort of winding itself apart. For us, you can see no real rain chance. Everything is on the East Coast all the way up to the Canadian border. The dome, the dome, the dome. Yeah, it's in control, and it'll be on top of us for quite some time. It's keeping Debbie away, and you can see how Debbie pulls away. But as the dome actually strengthens out over not only us, but the East Coast as well, everybody, including Florida that just got slammed by that storm, is going to be under the hot bubble, and you can imagine the heat and the humidity. So for tomorrow in Port Lavaca, looking for lots of sun and a 96. For those of you in Cuero, lots of sun and a 96 as well. And in the long term, well, the weekend is upon us, and that's good. I just want you to be cautious with the afternoon heat and respect the heat because it can get you. Looking for high temperatures staying 98 to 100 right on through the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. And here's Karina.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now 5, we're going to take a look at your stocks. Plus, why Samsung is recalling more than 1 million of its stoves. Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 683 points, the S&P 500 up 120 points, and the Nasdaq up 464 points. Oil up 96 cents, closing at $76.19 per barrel. Samsung now recalling several stoves due to a design flaw impacting about 1.1 million gas and electric models. Flammable objects on top can ignite if pets or people bump the knobs. In Colorado, one video from June shows a dog setting off a house fire just in that manner. Boxes on the stove ignited after the dog pawed at the knobs. The company will provide free knobs, locks, and covers. The SPSC is aware of house deaths related to these faulty knobs. Now, first-time applications for unemployment benefits fell, putting recession fears on hiatus. Initial jobless claims last week fell to 233,000 down from the prior week's 250,000 filings. Economists say this is a fairly healthy labor market, but the report wasn't all good news. Continuing claims or applications from people who have filed for unemployment for at least 1 week increased to 1.88 million. This is the 9th straight week at or above that level. And stay with us. We're going to take one last look at your forecast when we come back. Plus, Polly Pocket is becoming full size. How you can spend a night in the Polly Pocket universe. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight, right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up, former President Trump agrees to debate Vice President Harris right here on ABC. Flood watches, warnings, and possible tornadoes as what's left of Debbie targets the Northeast. And Team USA's Noah Lyles runs the 200 meters with COVID next.
Polly Pocket is becoming an Airbnb host. The 90s era icon is opening a life-size house in Massachusetts. The 42-foot tall home includes pockets full of nostalgia. Guests can get comfortable watching a movie on the couch or head to the life-size action park tent just 10 feet away from that house. The Airbnb is open to guests for a single night stays from September 12th to the 14th. It cost $89 per person as a nod to Polly's debut in 1989. And bookings open August 21st. And if you want to get those bookings, you got to do that. Have multiple browsers open.
It doesn't have a roof. That kind of concerns me. Am I going to spend the night there?
And it's like a camping thing.
Oh,
yeah.
I get it.
Glamping, I guess.
You're in a life-size dollhouse. Oh, amazing.
Think of it as the Barbie house, but for Polly Pocket.
That's right. Okay, good. Well, I haven't been to either of them. Anyway, folks, so we are dealing with some hot stuff over the weekend. I know you probably want to get out in the backyard and do a little grilling, and that'll be fine. Just know the middle part of the day is going to be very warm, so I don't want you to be overexerting yourself and working too hard because we're going to stay in this sort of a heat wave all the way through. I call it a heat wave because it's 3 to 5 degrees above where we're supposed to be. We're supposed to top out at 95, 96, but we're going to be warmer than that.
Alrighty, thank you, Mac, and thank you for being with us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.